Hello and thanks for clicking on this video. I've just been down and fed the chickens and I've got a handful of raspberries and they're turning my hand red. They're just about gone past their best, but they really are nice. But putting that to one side, the topic of this video is shelters. Now I'm going to try and build myself a bushcraft shelter, but I don't want to go the full hog and build a big elaborate structure. I don't want to go really minimal, as in the true vein of a survival shelter. You will see people headline survival shelters and it's sort of almost like they've excavated a dugout and they've got big massive poles. A true survival shelter is just that. Minimal resources, minimal footprint, and with that comes the fact that it has to have the ingredients of being able to keep you really tight so you're not losing all that warm air out through the structure or into it or trying to heat a bigger structure. A survival shelter has to be small, tight, minimal resources and afford you the ability to be able to make that shelter warm, or your body heat be able to keep the heat in that shelter. I'm not 100% sure what I'm trying to do here, but it's got to be something halfway between. I want to be able to use this shelter a few good times, but I do not want to be taking in power tools. I do not want to be taking in big hand tools as well. So it can't, by its very nature, become, exaggeratedly too big. My main problem is I don't want to build it too local to me because I don't own the land, so whatever shelter I put up, it's got to be something, if it's discovered, it can be smashed down and leave no trace. And that means I'm not taking in materials which are, number one, environmentally unfriendly, number two, cost me a lot of money, number three, the time and effort to get those materials in, and number four, it is quite simply the disappointment of going through all that trouble and seeing it smashed down. It has to be something I can personally afford the loss. Well, I'm here at the woodland or forest. You could call this genuinely a forest, but it is extremely busy. I've got bracken with me. As my wife says, if I'm going out, I can multitask and do a dog walk at the same time. I've got my guilty pleasure because I've had to get some fuel for the car. And there's some road works further down where I can get further down to the bit of forest I want to go. It's closed off because of road works. Already a spanner in the works for me, but I'm sat at another entrance, but this is at least a quarter of a mile away from where I really want to start my exploration for a base camp. And all of a sudden, I'm a bit disheartened straight off the bat, but I'm going to crack on. The weather's poor, it's rain, it's windy. I've packed some waterproofs, but I'm going to be in under a really heavy canopy of trees. But I'm going to get bracken out and we're going to get this done. Right then, I've already hit my first set of problems. The piece of woodland I'm in is got a lot of historic logging, and all you can see is tree stumps, you know, everywhere you look, and some of them are spaced pretty much on top of each other. There's a few that have got you know, a bit further spacing, but you've got those kind of like anthill like situations between each one of the logging points, and there's very little room to build a shelter. You could build a survival shelter here very easily, and I'm not looking to build anything big, but I just want something to be a little bit more comfortable than a survival shelter. There's a lot of wood that you could use lying around, you know, that's not an issue, and there is a little bit of sunlight coming in on this particular piece of woodland. The one that I went into just before filming this, yes, I have still got my Costa, and it will be coming home as trash in my... Like I said, don't judge me on it, it's my guilty pleasure. But yeah, the woodland up there, it's just dark, dank, cold and miserable. It's nice being in there in the woodland, but I'm looking for somewhere which is, you know, just got that little bit of a wow factor. This is turning into a recce. I haven't recce'd where I'm going or what I'm doing. This is turning into more of a recce rather than the actual camp build itself. And the other thing that I'm really concerned about is I'm pretty much in this woodland on a high point, and I'm bringing you round, and this probably needs no explanation. You can see what the wind has done, and a lot of the trees, if you care to look, are in that similar situation. You can see one there in front of me that's lying over. There's one lying into another one which is pushing it over. You can see one that's snapped off there and has freshly gone over. And in the background you'll see 2 or 3 that's gone over. They're probably a year old because all the greenery on it has gone brown. But you can see how much wind this does get here. I wouldn't be actually using the shelter in the wind, but it's still off-putting. I know this is an exposed piece of woodland here. What are you doing? There's nothing there of interest for you. Right, we're going to head back to a track and try and find a less exposed piece of ground with a bit more sunlight coming through. Like I said, this is turning into more of a recce, and to be honest with you, this is probably, you're getting the real experience if you're looking to build a shelter, not that you know, sunny woodland, like just go and build a perfect log cabin in the woods. This is what it's like if you just pick up and decide you're going to go and do it. Right, you can see that mess of widowmakers gone up through there, and it's about 30-40 feet across. All the trees have been taken out, and I'll spin you around, and there you go. It's like a huge, well, it's like an aeroplane has just come down and crashed right the way through it. You know, whatever, you know, the wind conditions that caused this, they must have been horrendous up here. It's just taken out a whole, like I said, about 30-40 feet wide by possibly 600 meters of trees that have just been totally blown over. Well, I've reached the actual flank of this actual forestry, which goes out into open ground, and it's high ground at that. I know that because we've just discussed the trees. But in front of me, interestingly, I've got a nice little setup here. I've got a river that's running off the high ground, and there's actually some rudimentary bushcraft shelters over there. I'll just let you have a look. There, if you have a look, there's like the traditional wigwam style of bushcraft shelter, and it looks like there's another lean-to against the trees. I might have a quick little investigate, but it looks like it was probably done before all this undergrowth took over. But it's a nice little place to have done it, and it would obviously have been the kids that have done that. I'm kind of looking to do something a little bit more robust and professional than that. But if I turn you around, you can see I have reached, on this particular forestry track, the open moorland. Well, like I said, I couldn't go any further down with my vehicle, the lane that I wanted to go, because quite simply it's blocked off. There's forestry and road works going on, and understandably I'm not going to try and push down those roads. Bracken's just pulling me in that direction, but I'm not going to go down there. A lady's just gone past with her dog, and she, was just basically saying that she didn't know if this was a recognised footpath. There is a sty, and I'll do my homework when I get home about that. But there's a lot of footfall through this particular part of the woodland or forest, and that's kind of killed my enthusiasm for doing it here. I'm going to follow the actual track and see if I can find a little bit more of a remote area. Obviously all the walkers and everybody are being pushed into this area of the forestry now, quite simply because they can't access the other parts of it. So this is the last little vestiges of the forest before you come out to the open ground. I'll let you have a look. And there you go. It's really moody, and it looks like there are showers on the way, or rain. It would be nice to go for a walk out there on the moorlands, but I don't want to get caught out in the rain and that. And that lady was extremely brave to be going out there, and she didn't look prepared for it. No waterproofs or anything. I'm feeling a little bit despondent, as I've said, because the traffic here is quite substantial now. I'm going to push on a bit further and see if I can get off the beaten track, so to speak. But it looks like a lot of people are pretty much got the same idea that I have, and we're approaching the school holiday season, so I can only imagine the footfall will get a lot more through here. Right then, so me and Bracken have pushed through all the fern and the undergrowth, and we've come up to the actual shelter. And it's quite interesting actually, because they've gone further, or would have gone further than you initially suspect, because at some point this was covered in moss, so they had a good attempt to make this waterproof. Right, yeah, like I said, it's like a teepee style construction. Like I said, there's no shortage of building materials, and it's not big enough really to sleep in. This is probably just like a camp, just somewhere to practice the skills, I would say. But you can see at some point it was covered in moss. They did try to make it waterproof, but yeah, good effort there. But there's more here than I actually thought. So coming around the back of this bushcraft shelter, there is a rudimentary bridge over the river, and it's been constructed with a little bit of thought. I'm not going to go down on it. It's not that the water's deep, just that I've got bracken and it all becomes a bit of a tangled mess. As you can see, they've laid some bits of timber and put some handrails, and that's in an effort to get across to their mate's shelter, which be on the opposite side there. I don't think this has been used for quite some time, but yeah, 10 out of 10 for effort. The only thing I would say is, by this watercourse and source here, you really would be in insect territory when it's really hot and stuffy. Well, I'm on slightly less defined ground and it's a bit boggy. There is a track, but it doesn't look like it's as heavily used. And then you come across a sweet wrapper. I'm going to pick that up and chuck that in my cup and take that away with me. But we are more exposed to the sunlight here, and I'm going to continue down here for a little while longer. You can probably see a puddle of water there by Bracken's snout there. And yes, it is quite boggy here, so I'm hoping as I go up a slight incline it dries out a bit. Right, I've reached a point where I think I'm going to now chance my luck in a little bit further into the interior of this wood block. It is dark and gloomy in there. Not much sunlight is getting in there. If I stay to the outside, there is evidence, you know, people are using the bits that are getting sunlight. So my chance to actually stay a little bit out of sight pretty much rests on me being in that dark, gloomy part. I have just seen something hanging off a tree, and I'm going to investigate myself because my curiosity has kicked in, and I'll show you. I'm going to say, what's wrong with this picture, or can you spot the object that shouldn't be there? I'll give you a second. If you haven't found it by now, I'll just bring it up. And in the centre of the screen, there's a mess tin hanging probably 15 feet up a tree. God knows why, but I'm just going to have a little look. Now this white stuff actually looks like bird poo, but it is actually pine resin, and it's coming out of the trees. I've just been bit by a horsefly. They seem to be prevalent here, but putting that to one side, if you can actually find a little stick or a branch which has got that leaking from it, there's a good chance that little stick will be loaded with pine resin, and that's fantastic for starting fires, or at least keeping a fire burning so you can get it really going. Right, we're making our way down to this stream. It's obviously the one that we seen earlier. It's running a bit faster here. And I see some ripples over there. I'll be interested if there's any moorland, well, river trout in here. Some of these little streams do actually hold trout. Right, there's evidence people have used this for a camp. It's in a little bit of a hollow sheltered by this wall. There's biscuit wrappers here. Let me get over here. Another one there. And a pretty grubby mess tin. That's been there for a long time. Right, leave Bracken. That has been there for a long time. I'm apprehensive. Up, you stay away. Why, it was stuffed full of that. There's nothing else up there. Right, let's have a little look. You stay away. The thing is, if you ever come to an area which looks like it's been used for a camp because there's rubbish and items like this, you can see it's gone green. It's been there for a long time. To get green like that, it's 12 months or more, and it's just been abandoned. It doesn't look damaged, and it hardly looks like, it's just got a slight little burn mark on the side. This was never really used. It ain't military use that's left this behind. It's civilian, quite simply because of the wrappers and things like that that's here. But if you ever come across something like this, my first concern is where I'm standing, because the likelihood is you're probably going to find their toilet around here somewhere. So if you're ever come across a situation like this, for your own benefit, watch where you're standing. But yeah, that is not damaged or anything. In fact, the stainless has started to rust. This has just been abandoned, quite simply. Somebody just could not be bothered to take it home with them. Right then, me and Bracken are going to cross this little stream, and I've got to, he's not the best water, he never has been, he's got better, but I've got to get across this little stream. It's not going to be too difficult, it's just making sure he doesn't pull in one direction and I get wet. But we're going to head into that dark gloom. Right, come on Bracken, this way, up here. Good boy, hold on, you'll have me over if you're not careful. Oh, that's a bit tricky. Right, yep, up we go. And then we got a water runoff channel here. What do? I kind of wanted to head down that way towards that holly tree. I'm on this side of this water channel now. I'm going to carry on down through this way. Come on, Bracken. Let's go. Keep going. Come on. Still having to direct him a little bit. But if I correct him, he does seem to know which way I seem to want to go. Over here. Come on, this way. That's a good boy. Up here. No, this way. Good boy. Let's go the easiest way. I don't want to be climbing over trees and branches. Right then, I'm starting to actually get pretty much well into the wood block here now. I'm losing sight of the light from the moors and the perimeter of this bit of woodland. And there is occasionally the odd patch of sunlight coming through. But I'm sticking close to this waterway quite simply because if I do find a spot I want to use, I haven't taken a bearing and I don't have GPS. So consequently, if I come back again, there's a very good chance that area or spot I've just found, which I've decided I want to build on, will be lost forever. And I'll be back to doing this again, which I should be building by now. But I'm still on a recce in effect. But yeah, I do actually have that actual gully I'm following along. So I'm going to continue following this, and in the process while I'm doing it, seeing if I can find that elusive spot I want to build on. Now my day just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? I think I can see a very old building, and I can see what is basically a mine shaft cap. I didn't think they were this far into this part of the actual woodland. I'm being very cautious now. I can see one entrance that's capped, and I'm going to make my way over. But yeah, be very cautious, and I don't want to disappear down a dirty great hole in the ground. But I think I can see a building. I'm not sure. It could just be the bark of a tree that has been caught with the sunlight, but I'm going to make my way over there very, very cautiously. Right then, how can I put it this way? Because this is so far into the woodland, not many people would be coming here now, but I can instantly see the cap. I'm actually scanning the ground. These are big pits here. Dips, they would be covered from the general public, I'm sure of it, but I'm just being careful I don't stand on an open hole. That's just me being over cautious. But yeah, I've got no intention of disappearing down a mine shaft if I can help it. And there's the cover. That's basically a big grill to stop you, getting anywhere near it. But yes, I can see a brick building over there. We'll have a very quick look. There you go, that's a capped mine shaft there. There is a sign telling you that basically don't mess about by it, or try to get anywhere near it or go into it. There's another one over there in the trees. And there's a couple up here. one there, and another one over there. If I sound like I'm, you know, a little bit cautious and got a bit of thought here, it's quite simply this is well off the beaten track. And if you look at the ground here, you can see all the lumps and bumps. There are trees growing out of it. I'm just being cautious where I stand. I don't have mappage on. I'm sure all the mine shafts would be capped, but if you're in an area like this, caution when you're in this area may just serve you good. But in any case, I want to have a look at the building. Right. They are capped for a reason. Don't ever try to climb on them, go near them, or even just, you know, mess about near them. They're capped for a reason. Yet again, there's one that obviously has a cap on it. And there's one that doesn't, but you can see the metalwork has been smashed and bashed by trees falling in on it. Yeah. To be honest with you, it's really sharpened my senses here, and yeah, I'm being very cautious. So actually, I've made it to the building, and I'm still treading very cautiously. This is old. It's been here for God knows how long. You can tell by the stonework and how it was done. But I'm just going to have a quick little look inside. There is what looks to be a tarp or a tent in the corner. I'm not going to go in and stand in there because I don't know if there's a pit entrance or anything like that. This could just be a supporting building to that mining operation, but I've no intention of taking any chances. That is an extremely impressive piece of stonework there. Even with all the mortar, and I suppose it would be lime mortar that's literally dissolved away, those stones are still interlocked. I'm being careful Bracken doesn't stand on a piece of metalwork. No, Bracken, we're not going down there. Come up here, look. Bracken. Bracken. Here. No, there, that's a good boy. Slow. No, we're not going down. Here's the doorway. There is metalwork all the way along the walls there. Somebody's done a little bit of a miniature shelter, I presume. But what's interesting is this isn't a tent. It's a horse blanket, or from what I can see anyway. Looks like it's probably for a small horse. Yeah. I'm actually here by myself, obviously, so that's adding just that little bit of it's making me even more cautious because I haven't fully explained to my wife or anybody else the exact location I'm at. It's been pretty broad and left open-ended, but I think I've seen enough, and I've actually burnt a lot of time now, and I've got to get out of here and get home because my wife needs the car. So I've run out of time. I do car share, and you know, it's just one of facts of life for me. So I've now got to basically extract myself out of this piece of woodland. I'm doing it very cautiously. I think you can understand every little divot, and I'm trying to keep to the high. I'm not taking any of the dips because I don't want to be disappearing down an uncapped mine shaft. They shouldn't be. They should all be capped. But hey, you know, this was mined possibly the 1800s, I would say, you know. So, you know, whether there's full documentation or mapping, who knows? All I'm saying is I'm treading extremely carefully. Not a lot of people come here, I would say, because it's just so far out of the way. But yeah, the things that you unexpectedly find in a woodland. Like I said, I'm picking a high line and I'm not taking any of the divots. I know a rough direction I've got to go, so I don't have to backtrack all the way through the woodland where I've just come from. But yeah, this has turned out into quite a day of exploration and intrigue. Where I did actually initiate, think that I was going to be base camp building. Just come across another mine shaft entrance there, and that's taken a beating by wood falling on it as well. You can see the size of the crater on this one. It's absolutely huge. Yeah, I'm beginning to angle back to where I came from and perhaps take the path that I actually did come this far into this part of the woodland. There's a trench, and as you can see, I'm on the opposite side. I actually want to get across that now and start angling back that way. Yet again, more caps on mine shafts. It's absolutely well, unimaginable how many there are here. This was a heavily industrial and mined area, and I can see another one just over here. I can see where I want to go. Oop, slipped. Right, I don't think I've got much choice but to cross over again. Right, up over there, I think. Just following the track along here, I've come across a eggshell, a very small one. So obviously something is hatched from above me. Something up there, a bird of some description, had a nest. And that's the remnants of the egg. Let's hope it's made its way onwards and is safe and sound. Well, what a turn of events. We didn't even get one tool, you know, cutting a piece of wood for a base camp or even find a base camp. But we had a little micro adventure in the process. I do know there are mine shafts in this area, but that's further down through the forest. We're a good mile away from that, and I had no idea that they would be up this far. It sparked me to have a little look online and a little bit of an investigation, and that's what I do because I'm definitely intrigued about all these sort of things. And do I feel disappointed? No, because I've spent time out in the woods and I've had a little bit of an adventure, a discovery session, and yeah, these are the things that keeps you coming back, you know, finding new things. But I would just like to say around mine shafts, I was cautious. You saw that. I gave the warnings. Please heed them. and don't disappear down a mine shaft. I purposely stayed away, and I was walking around the outside of any pits or divots I saw in that area, because you never know if they're all capped. They should be, but don't take it for granted. So yeah, I'm going to end this this session and this video. So yeah, this is Andy from Hidden Valley Footpaths. Take care, stay safe, and I'm going to say that, stay safe. All the best. Cheers.